Always smiling when we start. All right. What's up, everyone? It's Nick and Chris. We're back on the Post Fight Podcast on Thursday evening for Chris, Thursday afternoon for me. I'm still in London. He's in Hong Kong. We are going to talk about one championship news. We got UFC 270 coming up this weekend. Another big week in MMA. Chris, how are you holding up?
I'm absolutely fantastic right now. I think we're about 2 weeks into our current 4-week lockdown, as it's supposed to be, of everything closing at 6 p.m. It might last longer. We are right now going through Hamstergeddon, as they're calling it on this side of the world. Secondary schools will close from Monday, so it truly is maybe turning into dark, dark times.
Yeah, for people who don't know, please explain to them what Hamstergeddon is.
Uh,
Because, oh my God.
Hamstergeddon is Hong Kong's policy because they found one hamster with COVID. They are culling every hamster in the city. Is being euthanized, unfortunately.
It's just insane.
Oh
It's
no,
just
sorry, just
insane.
all the hamsters bought after December 22nd are being euthanized.
And where have these hamsters come from? They've been imported, is that correct?
Yeah, imported, that's it. So it's all a bit of an odd situation. I do not know too much about it. I do not own a hamster, but yeah, I've seen it all over the internet, all over Twitter. It's been a little bit of a laughing point for Hong Kong on some sort of international level at the moment.
Well, this podcast is dedicated to the hamsters who have
Yeah.
lost their lives because of Hong Kong's ridiculous COVID policy. All right, well, let's get into the MMA though. Let's do it. A bit of one championship news coming out of that show last Friday, Chris. Heavy hitters. We had I don't want to say press conference, let's say media scrum with Chatri. He said a few things there. The main thing also is the exclusive the Post had. You know, the IB
Yeah.
Times may try and pretend, Chris, that they had the exclusive 4 days after the Post put it up. That I broke the news that One Championship is scrapping reviews. The competition committee has disbanded. So after those two controversial ones at the end of last year, Ham and Denise and Christian Lee and Oak, no more, because this was brought on by Supergirl and Ekaterina's controversial Muay Thai fight. What do you think, Chris, first of all, about, yes, One Championship getting rid of these reviews and the competition committee?
In my opinion, I think it's a fantastic move. I think it brings I think it just makes everything a little bit more clear. I don't like it going to the competition committee. I don't like decisions getting overturned. We don't know who's on the committee. That's half the actual problem itself. And yeah, I think it's better. I think it will bring more transparency, which is needed in one championship. But my only problem is now, who ordered the rematch? Is it called the judging commission?
I don't know. I think Chatri just said he's ordered it in the press conference he had, or the media scrum. He said, I'm ordering an immediate rematch. I think he has that power. So
Yeah.
he said both of those fighters have agreed, Supergirl and Ekaterina, to an immediate rematch. I don't think it'll be very immediate, though, Chris, because Supergirl took a lot of punishment. She went straight to hospital, didn't speak to the media after the fight.
Yeah, that's it. And the thing is, it looks like it's going to take Supergirl a while to come back from that. She took absolutely massive damage to her eyes, her orbitals, her cheeks. She was so bruised. She looked like a different person. And that's the only problem I have sometimes with having an immediate rematch with a kind of thing like this. While it is the right thing to do, if it turns out she's going to be out for 6-9 months and Barbie's available for in the next 3 or 4 months, does it really mean that she should have to be on ice for that time? I don't truly think that's fair. These guys are prize fighters. They fight for prizes. So I think it's a little bit tough in that respect. And it's not the way I'd totally want to be treated. Personally, if I was an athlete in the organization, I'd just want them to get it right the first time round.
Yeah, a lot of mixed reaction to this news, and a bunch of people have been saying, I think, including yourself, Chris, on Twitter, just let's get the judges correct. Get better judges in. We don't need reviews. We don't need competition committees.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, even look, I was just trying to search up the other day what were the name of the judges, who were the actual judges, and it's actually very, very, very hard to find out. So there's a little bit lacking on that point. I'd kind of like to see Singapore in one championship kind of bringing what they brought into Japan last year, where they actually brought in an independent commission for referees and judges, so they're no longer in house. So now, if you look at Japan, Rising, Pancrase, Shuto and Deep Duels. They all use the same commission to pool all of their judges and referees from. And I think it is just about weight. That is a little bit of a problem in Singapore because it is a city state. It's a very small market. I think there's probably not another professional organization there. Everything else is probably amateur. I would assume there might be some small professional organization, but that is a little bit of a problem. But I think in a post-COVID world, they could probably look to do something like that regionally. And I think that probably is the way forward.
You think Vandaryeva won the fight, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I had a clearly winning. I had a winning. I had her probably winning all 3 rounds. I could see it 2-1, but I just don't see how 2 judges gave that fight to Supergirl. I think it was a terrible decision.
Okay, well, some
And
other news. Oh, go
can I
ahead. Yeah.
say, sorry, I just add on to it. To me, this is actually a worse decision because I think this, to me, was more clear than the Lee and Oak fight.
Yeah, for me, I agree with you, Chris. I think Denise and Ham and Christian Leonog were a lot more tight, if that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see going either way. This one, I had Katrina clearly winning, but then we have to remember the different rule set and judging criteria for these super series fights, right? They don't do
Yeah.
the same as the MMA judging the whole fight, do they?
I've watched it back and I've tried to score it. It is on a 10-9 system. And I've tried to go back and I've tried to score it myself. And I just can't seem to come up with a way for Supergirl to win it 2 rounds to 1. I just can't see it.
I mean, I
I just
remember on the Fight
I
Companion,
can't
I was saying Katerina, I was a little worried that she was being quite
in the last round, yes.
yeah.
But I
Is
just
she-
can't see how you could either give the first 2 to Supergirl.
I think Supergirl got the first round, and then Ekaterina the second, and then 2 of the judges gave her the third. I think that's what it was, and I just don't see how they could. But yeah, I'm not a judge, Chris. So
But it's a
anyway,
hard thing to do.
it is a really hard thing to do, and I think you wouldn't want that job sometimes, would you? Especially if
Oh no.
you're sitting down and you're just doing fight after fight after fight. What if your mind wanders for 5 seconds and you don't really pay attention? It's
That's it, exactly. Or you can even be just distracted sometimes by the emotion of it all, the blood, the guts, the determination, I know judges aren't supposed to, but they are human and anyone can get caught up in the emotion of it all. And also, I think sometimes judges can be hugely affected by the atmosphere around them.
And indeed, and there were more fans, I think, there at Singapore Indoor Stadium there had been in a while. I don't know the official number, but it sounded more than the 250 they've been having in a couple of shows, maybe 500. I don't know specifically, but just definitely a bit louder. But not the full 12,000 capacity, which they're hoping to get for 1X. Anyway, bit of more news that broke this week, Chris, in the world of one. Just wanted to get your take on it. Anatoly Malakin is out of that heavyweight title fight, interim fight. They postponed it, so it will be on just a couple of weeks later now at Bad Blood, February 11th. It was going to be the main event next Friday. Kirill Grishenko and Anatoly Malakin, but now it's going to be the featherweight kickboxing Grand Prix semis are going to be the main and co-main next week. So a bit of a blow for that card, losing the title fight. I think we can agree.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a huge blow to it. The total fight, so the Grand Prix semi-finals are absolutely fantastic, but definitely apart from Jared Brooks, this was the fight that was bringing a little bit of the pizzazz to this card in terms of a little bit of gold on the line. If anyone here is a One Championship fan, pre-COVID, I think almost every card that One Championship does always has a belt on the line, so this is a little bit of an oddity, but yeah, what else can you do? This is the time, this is COVID, and you've just got to be prepared for it.
Yeah, more news broken by the post, Chris.
Oh,
Anthony
wow.
Malakin had COVID a couple of weeks ago. It sounds like he's fine because they've rebooked it immediately, which is good to hear. Now, though, here's the card. I don't know if that'll come up on screen. I don't think it did, but What would you do in this instance, Chris? I would be tempted to just lean into the kickboxing side of it again and try and make it another all kickboxing event, the main card, like they did with First Strike, appeal to that crowd. If you haven't got that title fight with the MMA, I know they've got the alternate bout between Davidas, what's his face? Rimkus.
Rimkus
Yeah,
and Konanawut?
yeah, Smoke and Joe. So, I mean, I would bump that up to the main card. Maybe you've got Radija against Francesco Zaja. I can't pronounce it right.
The
Uh,
thing is, I feel like Kim and Tankai are both fighters they're trying to get over a little bit on this card. And as well, there is probably the hottest new signing to one championship in Jared Brooks. And I think he's got to be on the main card. So the problem is you just don't want to dilute that main card a little bit too much.
True.
And you do have to remember, it is going to start in Singapore and Hong Kong. It's 6:30 this card for the lead card. So I know a lot of people that might not tune in for the lead card because they want to get that main card on. Because you look at it's going to start, I think, at 8:30. It's probably going to drag on past midnight.
Ooh, it's been a while
Yeah,
since we had such a long card. So how many fights have we got there? I think we lost one other fight as well. The opening bout, it was a catchweight Muay Thai against Smilla
we've gone from
Sundell, and
12 to 10.
yeah, I can't remember the names.
Do
Yeah,
you
it was.
think it will get to 10 by the time it is next week, or you think we'll be down at 9 or 8?
I think we'll be down at 9 or 8, and it'll start same time, 7:30, and we'll end on time. Chatri said as much in the post-fight interview we had that they're booking bigger cards now in the anticipation they're going to lose 3 or 4 every time. So if it does stay together, great. If it doesn't, still great. I think we've got enough fights. It's not going to be too much of a change. But yeah, anyway, that is that. What else have we got in the world of one, Chris? I mentioned it to you before. Pay-per-view news. Yeah, that's right. So another little piece of information that Chatchery revealed is that the 10th anniversary is going to be a two-parter, like Century was the Tokyo show in October 2019. I want to say
19, yes.
So God, time flies, isn't it? Yeah, so we're gonna have two-parter, and the second part is going to be an Asia-focused pay-per-view. I don't know what that means, but specifically, a lot of people are comparing it to Century when the second part was on Fight TV in America, but I don't. It sounds like it's only going to be pay-per-view in Asia, so US is still going to get it in the normal means, and they are apparently going to announce a new broadcast deal as well. I imagine that will tie in with the 10th anniversary show. How do you unpack all this, Chris?
Yeah, I just think it's a little bit of a hard sell to make a pay-per-view in Asia. It's very rare in Asia at all. You get pay-per-views. I know you do get them in Japan. In Hong Kong, we don't really get pay-per-views. We get it for some boxing matches, but that's kind of gone the way of the dodo with the zone entering Hong Kong. Most Southeast Asia, they don't really have pay-per-views. Thailand, with their huge Muay Thai history, don't have pay-per-views. And I've actually seen Chinese fighters win WBC titles, WBA titles. I've seen Kunlun, I've seen kickboxing world championships for Chinese athletes in China, and they're always broadcast free to air on CCTV. So it seems to be really, really odd. It's be very interesting to see where their price point is. And they could always be kind of going for the David Leduc kind of model where, rather than trying to get 1 million people to give me $100, I'll get 100 or 200,000 to give me $1.
Well, I have heard some rumblings. I don't think I'm allowed to say anything, but yeah. Well, hopefully I can reveal, or One Championship will reveal the full details of this pay-per-view soon. But if I'm a US fan, I don't worry. I think you'll be able to see it still in the normal avenues.
If I was going to do a pay-per-view, I'd just go for Logan Paul versus KSI 1, put it on YouTube and make it a $5 pay-per-view. That's what I'd do, and I'd just do it globally that way and just see what sticks.
I mean, if you're One Championship, what's that fight that gets people to put down $5?
You got Raw Time DJ, you got Angela Lee on the card, you got Stamp. Hopefully they can get a few more big names. I mean, if they can get Shinya on, if they can get Eddie on. I believe they've got Adriano on the card, so hopefully Sage and Northcutt will bring a lot of fans. hopefully they can get some of the big fighters.
Mm. I asked Ongla if because he's going to fight on 25th at Full Circle.
Yeah,
So
which
he
I believe is going to be a bit of a middleweight show in a way.
yeah, he said as much to me that this obviously the main event is the title fight between Derrida and Absov, who's the welterweight champion, but it's
Yeah.
for the middleweight belt. And I've got a suspicion this is just what I think will happen. They'll rebook Leandro Ataides and Yushin Okami for that card. Little middleweight showcase, and it makes sense, Chris, because if anyone falls out of any of the, especially the title fight, they can slip someone in, maybe make an interim
100%.
title if someone gets COVID. You know, they'd love that, wouldn't they? If, Ong could fight Abasov for an interim belt or something if Derrida got COVID.
That would be
Yeah.
fantastic.
But I'm speaking to Derrida next Wednesday, Renier.
And
So
wow, that should be good fun.
I will put all this to him. I'll see if he's still interested in being the triple champ. There's a documentary coming up on him. I think he put a teaser on his Instagram. Seems like quite a big deal. And the clip, as you expect, is just him and talking a bit of trash about Ong La. So, as much as he dominated the first two fights, I think there's still a rivalry there that could sell a third fight.
100%. And here's the thing: it's a little bit of a poison chalice, right? Because when you don't have rankings for your organization, who is the next guy? Because you fought Ong La twice, you've already beat Leandro, and you're fighting the welterweight champ.
Yeah, here's the clip. Go check out Renier's Instagram. It's with Visubal. I hope I pronounced that right. I don't know anything about these guys, but I clicked on their page and they got 6 million followers, Chris. It seems to be some kind of sports documentary or something like that channel on YouTube. Yeah, big documentary opportunity for Derrida. Maybe get some fans, expand his reach. Definitely.
I think he's the best kept secret of one championship. I think currently, right now, I think globally, I think he's the fighter who would probably do the best in any other organization.
Will I'll be live here. Oh man, I don't know. We had him live last time, but I think that was because he just fought against Ong La the second time, and he after these guys fight in Singapore during the COVID era, they are all just sat in their hotel rooms for a few days while they await their PCR tests and things like that. So they have plenty of downtime to talk to the plebs like us. And
so what Nick is saying is, guys, like and subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to share it with your friends, because after the fights, when they're all stuck in their quarantines in Singapore and getting mended, that's a better chance we'll get them on live here, and then hopefully then we can give you the questions direct. Touch wood.
Yeah, Chris put it better than I did, but yeah, well, long story short, I don't know if Renier's going to have an hour like he did last time to talk to us. So if it's just 15 minutes, you can't really do it live because I don't have time to get the fan questions in. But we'll see. He's a really nice guy.
100. And just to add as well quickly, we've got a quick question from Pablo Martinez asking, will it be broadcast in Europe at One Championship X? It will be on YouTube.
Yeah. I have no idea. Check your schedules, guys.
Very interesting. I don't know if you've ever done it, but have you ever watched the Zone's combat sports show? Do you have the Zone, Nick?
I don't. I think
I have the Zone, and they have a combat sports, a weekly show, video show, right? And they show. They do One Championship. They had One Championship this week. They had their highlights. They did a piece on Jared Brooks before. They've done pieces on a few of their fighters, and it's quite interesting. So you never know. I wouldn't be surprised if we see One Championship, not in the States, but in some other markets, probably team up with the Zone.
That'll be good for them, I think. I don't know what else they are planning. Yeah, Chattery said they are in talks with 3 broadcasters. I don't get the sense they'll renew with Turner because I don't think the deal was favorable enough. For one, I think they wanted more money than they were getting. I heard it was only like 30 million or something they got from that deal. So I don't know. That's not a fact. I'm just that's pure speculation. But what do you think would be a good sum for them to get, Chris? You seem to know more about me than the money side of things.
This is so hard, and it all depends because if you're just talking about US TV, you probably want tens of millions of dollars, but that might be hard for them to get. Um, Ideally, I always think a streaming network will be better because they can more or less factor in small amounts of people who will subscribe and watch it in small markets. So even 30,000 people who subscribe to the Zone in Senegal just to watch Rugurug fight twice a year, that does kind of get compounded in, right? Because I feel in a lot of places in Asia and a lot of places in the developing world in particular, there's just a lot of illegal streaming, right? Even in the
Yeah,
developed world, right?
yeah. I mean, who's to say I haven't dabbled in that before? I don't know.
Yeah, 100%.
Uh, well, we'll see how it plays out. Yeah. I think news coming soon was the word from Chatri, who another piece of news I want to talk about today. He revealed, Chris, that one will be going back on the road. Well, he said they will. I don't know if it will happen, but they're going to try and get out of Singapore again this year. Realistically, where can they go in Asia? And does that maybe just mean they might go to the US a bit?
I think the US is a possibility. I think some countries that are far more open during COVID are a possibility. I always think Thailand's a possibility with one championship just because they've got a few MMA fighters in Thailand anyway, and they can always do a heavy kickboxing and Muay Thai card, and it'll be of absolute quality. Philippines is still having some troubles to my knowledge. I think India's probably a no-go. You do have the possibility as well that you could do a Japan or even I'm not sure if they do the first Korea show at the moment, but I think Japan is definitely a possibility just on the basis that they can kind of just rely on a fairly wealthy domestic population, right?
That's true.
Yeah,
And I guess if it is Japan, it could be something like Abema. Is that right? Abema, who do the pay
Bella
per views there.
TV. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what Ryzen use?
Yeah, that's what Rise News. I mean, Abima, I think, also do K1. There's been a lot of talk over the years, I think, because Abema were like having, I think they at one point they had K1, Ryzen, and Pancrase. They had the TV deals, and they were like, can't we just make one because we're kind of paying you all?
Well, yeah, it depends. What is it, March 26th? If there's something else around that time in Japan, that might affect things. But
Yeah.
anyway,
I'm not saying March 26th will be Japan, but I'm just saying I think probably in Asia outside of the US, I think for me, Japan and Thailand would be the two most likely.
I agree with you. Our man says, I don't think the idea of pay per view works in Southeast Asia and Indian subcontinent. Yeah, I agree 100%. I
Yeah.
think Chris agrees as well. So, yeah, like Chris says, likely Japan is the destination there. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, getting back on the road, I asked Onglar about that. He said probably only Thailand and the US he could think would work.
Yeah,
But
I just threw in Japan just because you can just rely on that domestic market to fill a stadium and pay good prices, right?
yeah,
Even
I,
even even in Japan, a 5,000 gate in Japan will probably bring in more revenue than 20,000 in Thailand.
I think one needs to get out of Singapore because if you're putting on a show every 2 weeks there, you're not going to get 12,000 people, right?
No,
Uh,
no.
they need to do it every 3 months or something like that and really stack those cards. So
They just took on money from Qatar. Qatar could be a possibility.
that would be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, well, look, Qatar has certain advantages, right? I mean, one, they own a stadium, they've got pretty good infrastructure, and they're authoritarian, so they can control their population. They're planning for a big event December this year with the FIFA World Cup, arguably the biggest sporting event in the world. And they could really create a bubble there. And if you look, UFC has its close relationship with the UAE. I think Brave is Kuwait, right? Or is it Bahrain? Bahrain is
All
Brave.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, so you never know. They all seem to want to have a little MMA duel in there I won't call it a crown because they don't wear a crown. I guess it's more of a Khalifa that sheikhs wear.
Well, that would be a great idea in terms of revenue. If they can just get an injection from that part of the world,
Yeah.
could really solve the financial issues. And I think Chachi was over there doing some kind of
Well,
conference, wasn't he?
also,
In the
one
new
thing
year.
that people have to remember is in Qatar, in Bahrain, in Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia, the second most spoken language after Arabic is Tagalog. Huge, huge, huge
Really?
Filipino populations, yeah. A huge amount of construction workers and domestic workers there.
Oh, okay. We could
Yeah.
put some of the Team Lakai guys
See,
over
that's
there.
what I'm saying. Yeah, you never know.
All right. Well, that about is it for the one side of it. I don't think there's anything else to discuss, but
No, but just while we're here, I'll throw out there if anyone wants to know a little bit more about what's going on in Onglar's life, go check out this awesome interview done by my buddy Nick Atkin.
yeah,
Absolutely fantastic,
yeah.
fantastic interview, and it's good
Spoke to
because
him
he's still
yesterday.
rocking the beard. It's still evil Onglar,
Yeah, it's getting very evil. The facial hair now. He's got the
100%.
pencil mustache and the beard. I like it. Onglavi Big Dash. Looking forward to that one. It
Do,
should be
do,
fun.
do you want to quickly have a quick chat about Chatri's comments? Do you think they were disrespectful?
To who and which
To
comment?
Panda saying that she lacks killer instinct.
Oh yeah, okay. That's a good idea actually. Um, no, I don't think it's disrespectful. I think he prefaced the comment. Obviously you can't sort of fit that all in a headline, so I apologize if it made it look like it was just pure disrespect. But before the line about I think she lacked killer instinct and the lack of desire to finish, he did say, I have all the respect in the world for her as a person and a martial artist. Um, and I asked Jingnan about it. She accepted the criticism and she said it was fair. She wasn't offended by it, and she said it was true. But she also promised she's gonna show the old panda in the next fight. So
And you know what? I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say I think it was disrespectful. I'm going to say at the age of 34, she's going to be 35 this year. For her weight division, she is getting on and she's got more and more dominance. She is the best fighter that female fighter, sorry, that one championship's ever had. Not just the mixed martial arts, in all the sports. She's achieved more than Angela Lee. I mean, she's had one loss her whole time in one championship, and that was to Angela Lee. And Angela Lee was a little bit fortunate there. I'd probably favour Panda in a trilogy fight at the moment. I'm not saying in 2 or 3 years' time. And she has a much better record of title defenses. She's won her title. She's never lost it.
well, I'm speaking to Angela tomorrow night, I think,
Yeah,
and
and
stamp
Angela's
that
been
as
out for a
well.
while. I'm not going to hold that against her, but she hasn't put the body of work together that Panda has. I mean, I think Panda has something like 8 consecutive title defenses.
6, I think.
6.
Yeah. So I don't think it was disrespectful. I think it was him trying to get her to raise her game. I think he wants to see the old panda, because if she's not even motivated by that performance bonus, the extra 50,000, what's it going to take for her to throw caution to the wind? If he's going to book her in main events, you want to be able to rely on these fighters, that they're going to go for the knockout at all times. Because I think you guys enjoyed the fight against Tiffany. I wasn't so enamored with that one either. Sorry, Nicolini. The Tiffany Taylor fight was great. The Michelle Nicolini fight
Yeah.
I didn't really enjoy. Um, yeah, I think if you're going to main event cards, you gotta go for it. Like Onglar said to me in our interview yesterday, he said the bonus doesn't mean anything to me because I always go and try to finish a fight. It doesn't matter. If I get it, it is what it is. But he's pretty sure he's going to get it because he always operates like that. He's going for the knockout at all times. He says it's a fight. It is a sport, but it's still a fight. Panda did say, she didn't want to hurt her opponents. What do you think of that? Is that her just kind of maybe making an excuse after the fight that she didn't get a knockout, or is it genuinely? Because I will put out there, she is a wonderful person, and I could see her
Quite possibly. Some
actually.
people don't like to, and maybe she just thought, I can win this fight in third gear. I don't have to go I don't have to go up to fifth gear. It might leave me a little bit more open. And just to throw that out there one more time, six title defenses, you are correct, but she won her title a year and a half after Angela Lee. She's made six title defenses to Angela Lee's four. That does have to be
Yeah.
respected.
Oh,
18
100%.
months 18 months later, I mean, she only won the title in January 2018, so we're talking 4 years, six title defenses and a shot at going down in the division. So that's eight title fights, and she's won seven of them. Absolutely fantastic in a 4 year spread.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to compare her to John Jones because for many reasons. But is there some element of that where people just started criticizing Jones because every time he fought, if it wasn't as spectacular as some of his earlier defenses were, people would criticize that. It's like, oh, you haven't won as brilliantly as you did last time. She keeps doing it, but say the last two haven't been as spectacular as some of the other fights. Is that maybe unfair criticism? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is unfair criticism, and also you do have to remember fighters do go in there with a game plan. It's not always to finish it as fast as possible. The game plan's there for a reason.
Yeah, and a good point was brought up by Luke Welling in the chat on our Fight Companion that I think maybe a trip to hospital right now isn't very desirable with COVID everywhere. So keeping yourself in shape that you don't have to get an ambulance over to hospital, that's maybe a good idea. So you don't get COVID. Anyway.
Yeah. Also, five out of her last six fights, she's gone to the fifth round. So, she is putting miles on the clock.
Yeah, and you pointed out the age as well. I think 34,
Yeah.
35. It was her birthday 2 days before that fight as well. Interesting. Yeah, I had a nice interview with her afterwards. Very, very fun. Go watch it. She
Yeah.
explains a little bit more about that. I think one of the other comments Chachi made from his interview that I found interesting was talking about Arjun Bhullar's manager. He was asked by Jason Burgos, sorry if I've pronounced it, of mixedmartialarts.com about the interim title fight, what's going on with Arjun, because obviously Chris Arjun's manager is the same as Francis, or his agency is, and same things happened there. They created the interim title at the UFC. Do you think Arjun has enough leverage here to try and?
Yeah, I think 100% because I don't know where Ritu really goes from here. And I think Ritu losing probably played into Arjan's hand. And I know he probably doesn't want to see someone of similar heritage and someone that, in a way, represents the same nation as him lose. But that was probably very, very good for his stock.
But
yeah.
you look at the social media metrics. Ritu far more popular than Arjun.
Oh, yeah,
Like
of course.
night and day. And is that something because maybe the Indian fans don't see Arjun, because he's grown up in Canada? Is that an element of it that they see Ritu as more like, oh, she's really one of
Well,
us?
also people have to remember is Ritu, they made a movie about her.
Yeah.
There's not many people like have movies made about them. People also have to remember, I think, isn't it only the Avengers and one Fast and Furious movie that have made more money in China than the movie Dangal itself, the movie about the Fogart sisters? I believe it is the third highest grossing foreign movie in China of all time. So it's not only just big in India, it's also big in China, which is the most populated and the second most populated countries in the world, respectively.
Well, that's slightly bizarre. I don't know why that. So
Yeah,
popular.
hugely popular.
This is just for me when I post things,
Yeah.
about Ritu, about Arjun, yeah, on our social media. Ritu's just got an absolute army of fans. You'll get thousands of interactions on a social post that involves her. You put something about Arjun, it doesn't seem to get the same bounce from the Indian market. I don't know why. I think
people also have to remember as well, Ritu, she won gold in the Commonwealth Games, right? She's kind of grown up
well, Arjun did as
famous
well,
with
but
all
for
the
Canada,
system for Canada.
yeah.
She kind of grew up famous, so she's been in the mind of people in India, arguably over probably the last 8 years, the last two roughly Olympic cycles, probably around that time. Well, like Arjun has only probably been introduced to people in India by
Mm.
one championship.
Yeah, that's a weird one, but
Because you know
anyway,
what? He has all the ability. He can speak. He can do everything. He's also a proud Canadian. I know he loves ice hockey. You see with Justin Trudeau. I think he has everything there. I just think they need to put the machine behind him.
I was just when I interviewed him straight after his win when he won the title against Brandon Vera. I was a bit taken back because he was just talking about I'm going to go into pro wrestling. It seemed like he didn't care about MMA, and it's like he's one have brought him over from UFC, where he wasn't spectacular. They've built him up. They made him a title contender. They got him the belt. They promised him that fight for like 2 years. They held
I'm
it,
not
kept
gonna
their word.
disrespect him though
Yeah, I just think
for being bad in the UFC because he only lost one fight,
yeah, I
right,
just
to
mean,
Martian Tybura. He's done pretty well otherwise.
but one. Okay, maybe I'm just putting my. If I'm the matchmakers at one, if I'm Chatri, do they feel a little bit disrespected that we got this guy, we built him into our champion now, and as soon as he wins the belt, he's like he's not playing ball with us, financially. Do you see what they might feel that way?
Yeah, that's true. But then also you look back to the Ariel Helwani interview, and he was talking about how they're on the biggest network in India and how he was talking about all the Indian metrics. I mean, you can't have it both ways, right?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? If you tell
Uh,
me you had 1 billion potential viewers and you're only paying me $10,000, well, you better be paying me more. Do you know what I mean?
it's 2.7 billion.
Yeah, that's it. But you understand where I'm coming from, right? When
Yeah.
he does talk about, arguably, I think that's their biggest TV contract right now, isn't it? Is with Star.
Oh, I imagine 100%.
Yeah, yeah. So
They're the
when you
only
look
ones
at,
who come after us on YouTube, with copyright
yeah,
strikes. Because
well, is that totally does that give Arjan a little bit of leverage? Because I would assume as well, if he had the ability to travel, I think he would have a lot more opportunity in the Indian market. Because what you do is, if you've got a morning TV show, if you've got a news program, you put Ritu with Arjan, and it's
yeah,
a match made in heaven, right? Maybe put
yeah.
Chachi in the middle of them.
But for his own sake, I think he needs to meet them somewhere in the middle right now. Because, like you said, we can't travel right now. He cannot go to India and do those things. He's got to stay relevant. He's got to make a title defense, I think.
I think
And
Malakan as well. I think Malakan's going to win. I think they're both favorable matchups to him anyway. And I think you really, really, really want to try and get as many title defenses and make as much money as possible because Buchechi is coming.
yes, the big bad wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, yeah, that's about it for one news. Quickly we talk about UFC 270 this weekend, Chris. I
That's it. Well, I'll tell you what.
can,
Oh my God. I honestly think this main and this co-main event, the rest of the card is a little bit give or take.
that's
But
a
I'd
fire.
pay for
That's a fire.
pay-per-view for these two fights. Like, you
It's a
tell
two
me,
fight card, isn't it? The whole thing. It's
when was the last time we've had, you probably have to go back to Pride until we've had two heavyweights this jacked fight each other. Oh, it truly is though, isn't it? I
uh,
mean, let's be fair. Uberim, Brock Lesnar, they were jacked. Probably since Overeem, Brock Lesnar. That was the last time we had two absolutely jacked guys, because since then we've had a few guys who wouldn't look too odd stood next to us on the beach, right, Nick?
I think that's unfair to them. Maybe
I
you.
mean, I mean, I mean, I mean, I mean, are you saying what DC and Derek Lewis are abs of steel? I mean,
I think they are probably more in shape than
oh,
they're
they're
more
more in shape than
athletic.
us. They're more in shape than us for sure. But you know what I mean? Like,
I
you
wouldn't
know.
feel too ashamed, yeah, taking my shirt off on the beach if but yeah, if I was there, I'd probably be like, okay, I'm not
Oh,
gonna
for sure,
wipe
for
it
sure,
out.
for sure. But like, let's be fair. Like, Derek Lewis and DC. I mean, look at these guys, man. These guys are 265 pounds and they've got abs, man. I mean, like if these guys were in an Avengers movie, they don't need the muscles put on their suit. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I mean, I agree with you, and I'm really excited about the fight. It's a great story. I feel the UFC's not playing it up enough, promoting it the way they should.
man,
They're former
this
teammates,
is the
former sparring partners.
first heavyweight fight in the history of the UFC that hasn't had an American or a Brazilian in it. People absolutely forget, like, this is actually a monumental moment in the blue Ryban division that is the heavyweight division. This is the baddest man on earth. It's the biggest division in the world. It's statistically, they're the highest paid athletes by weight division in the UFC. They bring the most eyes. Like, people talk about how UFC, it doesn't do that good, but statistically, if you always look at it, heavyweight main events just always trend more for some reason.
Yeah, it's the big boys. I think you can get a lot more general interest in it, can't you?
Yeah.
Than a flyweight fight. But we'll get to that in a minute. But Francis is the underdog, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I know it's a tough fight, right? Because look, if the fight gets past the second round, it's Cyril all the way, right? But it's a big
Well,
if.
big if.
Yeah, that's the issue, right? Thing is, if you look at the knockout percentage of Francis Ngannou, it's the second best in the heavyweight division. You know what is the number one?
Cyril?
It's Derek Lewis.
Oh,
Yeah, and do you know why? He still could knock out Cyril. Cyril could read him. Cyril could move
yeah.
away from him. He has all the ability. This is a guy who reminds me of an Alexander Usyk or even a Tyson Fury in that they're so damn big, but they do not move like a big guy. I mean, Cyril Gane moves better than you could argue if you look back to that light heavyweight fight. He moves better than Jan and Glover. It's even some guys in middleweight that he actually has better movement with. That's absolutely shocking.
Yeah, I think it was the Rosenstrike fight. I was just so astounded by his movement. He completely nullified Jairzinho. It was so frustrating for Rosenstrike. Yeah, can he avoid the Francis bombs? That's it. But Francis
Remember,
got the
this is a
jab as well.
country that 13, 14 months ago legalized MMA. People forget in terms of TV rights. I believe it's the third biggest market in Europe, France. This is an absolute huge opportunity. We have two guys whose first language is French, and I was asking my French friends, is there a French press conference? And they were like, no, no. which to me, I mean, I wouldn't be totally against it. Actually, I would have loved to have seen it. I would have loved to have seen them do it 3 months ago in Paris under the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, I imagine this fight would have been in France if COVID wasn't still an issue.
I will tell you what. I have friends here. I'm hearing the French people in Hong Kong. I hear them around. Everyone's talking about the fight. I literally know people from the British community here, the American community, who want to go and hang out with French people and listen to their cheesy jokes and them drink their terrible wine and their smelly cheese, but they want to be there because they want to be this atmosphere to see France achieve their biggest ever moment in mixed martial arts.
Well, I'm excited either way. I think it's going to be a great fight. I've always thought Cyril, this was, his destiny to be a heavyweight champion in the UFC or to get to this point at least. Since I saw him in Busan, he beat Tanner Boser, just complete clinic that was.
I watched that back. I think we all backed Tanner.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
because he had the UFC experiences, what we all said.
Geez, well, whatever happened to Cyril, it just he was night and day there, and Tanner Boser is no slouch. He's so calm and composed, and I think he's gonna find a way to just stay out of Francis's range. I'm picking Cyril, Chris, Drake, and John have gone for Francis. Have you made a pick yet? You're on the fence still?
I will make a pick right now, but here's the thing that actually makes me so excited.
What's
Both
the thing?
these guys destroy John Jones, but in completely different ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Serial is the next. John Jones says 10. I
Oh,
don't.
John KL saying he thinks this fight is going to be worse than Woodley Wonderboy. One or two, we have to ask. And I thought you were going to compare it to something. Wouldn't you compare it to Ngannou Derek Lewis? Is probably something we might see, but I totally disagree with you, John. If anything that we are going to see, we could see a boring first 2 rounds as Cyril seeks to survive and drain Francis of power. But then I actually expect him to start countering late in the second, early in the third, and I actually expect him to dismantle him slowly from that position and take away either a nice points or possibly a ground and pound victory.
John says Francis will win by a bull rush. Boop. There's so many variables. Yeah, it could go either way. I think very excited for this one, Chris. But Francis may be the underdog, but more people on the app have picked him 53%. Narrowly more, 47 for Cyril, so it's not a huge margin. I've seen people pretty much split down the middle. Same as this co-main event, Chris. It's pretty tight as well. Moreno is the favorite, -170. A lot of people though are picking him on the app. I don't think Figueiredo should be counted out from this. I think he had the issue with the weight cut the second time. I think he's sorted out his nutrition now, and he's at fight ready with Cejudo. I think he's going to be on point. There's going to be no weight issues, and then I think he's going to win the belt. Chris, I'm officially making my pick: Deiveson Figueiredo.
You know what? Here's the thing. When have I seen someone go and train with El Capitan himself, Eric Albacine? You know what I mean? The only man shorter than Nick who wears more bling than him. I mean, yeah, everyone who's gone there has improved. You look at the strides forward that Zhang Wei Li has made to round out our game, and I think it's going to be far more competitive than the second fight. And I just can't decide who to go for in this. But the one thing I keep looking at in this fight is this guy's 34, bro. And as we said with Panda, this is old for a flyweight. This old, I think it's going to be 34 in 2 or 3 months. Figueiredo, I'm talking about. While Brandon Moreno turned 28, I think, back in November. And this is a fighter reaching his peak. And I am just thinking that this is the start of something special. And I think not just now, I think Brandon Moreno is going to be champion in 2025. I think he's going to do something very, very special.
Just a side note, John is actually literally fishing, Chris. He didn't mean he's fishing for trolling or anything by saying that this fight will be worse than Woodley versus Wonderboy. I've seen the bait. He sent me a picture of the bait. So yeah, enjoy the fishing, John, and hopefully you can. We can provide a nice soundtrack for you out there. Let us know what you catch. Some more comments here we'll get through quickly. Man says nothing beats Francis versus Derek Lewis. You expect 2 heavyweights to end the fight by one big hit, but they hardly threw anything.
Yeah, but this is what people never seem to understand. When you get 2 heavyweights with that kind of knockout power, no one gets knocked out. When you get 2 fighters who are absolute wrestlers and super boring, but then they fight each other, that's when you get fireworks. Come on, guys. This is MMA math.
Oh man, asking for his free PS5. That's John KL. Oh man, not JHK.
Yeah, JHK. I mean, you know what the funny thing is? A lot of the people he was selling PlayStation 5s to were Jamaicans. So I like to think that's a sign for Aljamain Sterling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. If you missed all that drama yesterday, JHK's Twitter account was hacked, and it was briefly some kind of PS5 Xbox thing. I don't know what was going on, but
yeah,
Charles
making a lot of people happy.
Yeah, but the lightweight champion of the UFC himself rode to the cause for John and tagged Twitter support. I'm sure that helped John get his account back, so he is back.
Marcel as well. Marcel, I think, started it all off. Yeah,
big Marcel, started it all off. Glad John is back because he is one of the good guys out here. But anyway, Brandon Moreno, Deiveson Figueiredo. UFC is very high on Moreno, aren't they, Chris? They
100%, man. I mean, like it cannot even be understood. I think he's so important. I think he's so important for that market going forward. He seems to have got better. He seems to increase with confidence. And I'm so happy we're getting the trilogy now. I'm happy it's not one of those trilogies we're going to have to wait for.
Yeah, it's bang, 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 isn't it? They've done 3 fights in a row.
Yeah, I do think if Moreno loses it, we're going to see him again. But as I will say once again, I think with that age profile at 33 in this weight class, I think there'd have to be something, the belt move hands multiple times for them to bring Figueiredo back into the equation.
All right. Well, you three have all gone for Moreno. I might be dying on that hill there. We'll see. If Figueiredo wins, Chris, do we have a fourth?
No. I think we move on. I think we give it to Askarov and then we reassess the situation going forward. Brandon Moreno is in that Michael Bisping club. He's in the Orlovsky club, Shevchenko and Jangwei Lee club, Robert Whittaker club, Israel Adesanya club, by being the first champions from their country. And that will always garner them a certain level of respect.
Okay, well, not much else really, Chris, on this pay-per-view.
You know what? We can run through it very quickly because I think there's a lot of very, very strong favorites. I'll go with Michel Pereira. I'm going to go with Said Nurmagomedov.
Oh,
I am going to go with Rodolfo Vieira.
yeah.
And I am, you know what? In this fight, I think this is actually a big possibility for a little bit of an upset. I mean, the Georgian himself, Ila Topuria, has looked absolutely amazing in everything I've seen. I think it was what was it, Damon Jackson fight was fantastic. He obviously had that absolute great ground and pound win over Ryan Hall. I think these two guys are actually going to go very, very far. Don't be fooled by Jordan's record because he is still very, very young, Canadian. And I think he is going to take it up a level. But Topuria, he is just one to watch for the future. So everyone check this fight out.
Yeah, this fight I'm actually really looking forward to. I do think Topuria is going to win. Not taking anything away from Charles Jourdain, like Chris says, he's I think one for the future as well. I am also going with I think Rodolfo. Yeah, Wellington Turman. I think he got knocked out pretty bad his last fight. I can't remember the guy. Canadian dude was it? And Said Nurmagomedov, I'm going for it. Yeah. Is Khabib going to be there, Chris, or what? Is he?
Quite
COVID
possibly, but who
free?
knows what's happened with his COVID, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Michelle Pereira, I will join you on that one. Raoni Barcelos, Victor Henry, I've got no freaking clue. You've gone for Barcelos.
Oh, Barcelos, 100%. Yeah, he's just a little bit more of a veteran, proved himself at a high level. Victor Henry is somewhat of a journeyman.
I will follow your advice then, Chris. And then Michael
This
Morales.
is one where I'm going to back a little bit of a underdog, Trevin Giles. I'm going to back in this. I think he's fantastic. And I think he just has a little bit of an advantage. And sometimes you see people with that O next to their name, and there's always a possibility it all can go bad. I mean, this guy has a lot of hype. Did very, very well on Contender Series, Ecuadorian, because I believe there's an Ecuadorian, an Argentinian, and 2 Brazilians on this card, but I might be wrong. So it's got a little bit of a Latin American flavor. Arriba.
And the Aussies will be excited here. Jack Della Maddalena, Chris, is back against Pete Rodriguez. So
yeah, this is totally
a lot of hype
hard.
here.
I've got to go with Jack Maddalena just because coming off that win in the Contender Series, that's all I've seen from him. Because Pete Rodriguez, I know he was on the same card, I believe, as Ramona, right?
Yeah.
Icon Fighting Championships back in Sonola. So I think all his fights have been there. And it's just really hard to know, isn't it? It is a little bit of a guessing game, but you know what? Me and Nick, we're not out here to game the system. We pick every fight. And remember, if you're actually betting, don't pick every fight. Be selective.
By the way, if you haven't already, we are using Fanatics here, this browser. If you're watching us and not just listening, you'll see this browser here, but it comes from the Fanatics Fantasy MMA app. All the details are in that yellow ticker below us. They're in the description. Please go download it. SCMP have a group there. You can get it at getfanatics.app/SCMP. Join our group. Make a group with your friends. It's very fun. You pick everything: UFC, Bellator, One Championship, PFL, all these Jake Paul things. They do every card pretty much out there in combat sports, and it's very fun, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, that's it. I love it. I love the app. I love the community. I love being able to chat to everyone in the chat, especially. That's how we get some of the regulars in here. I always put it in the group.
Yeah. How many people are we up to now, huh? In our group.
About 800 people, I think, but I'm not 100% sure. This is one of my picks actually for an underdog win. One of my 3 underdog wins with Trevin Giles. Simon Oliveira, I think, is fantastic athlete. 30 years old, same as Tom Gravely, but fought a very high level, and I was very impressed with his performance on Contender Series. Gravely does have some weaknesses, and not to offend all my Welsh brothers out there, but he did lose to Brett Johns, which does not bode well.
We're lagging behind some other groups, Chris. We are behind Full Reptile picks, who have the Dan Hardy, so that's a lot of pull there. We're behind Reddit MMA. They got 1,400 members. We're behind MMA Twitter. They got nearly 800. So please, guys, if you haven't already, join our group. Get us to the top again. Anyway, a few more fights here to pick on UFC 270. Let's go, Chris. We have Tony Gravely against Simon Oliveira. I have no clue. Again, John.
Oliveira, all the way.
Okay. He's very adamant there. Let me. I'm just going to follow you, Chris. I don't even need an explanation. I'm just going to do what you say. Drake's done it. You've done it. John going for the favorite there. So why is Oliveira your pick though? Even if he is,
the reason why is I just Gravely. I've seen him fight a few times. He's done Contender Series once. He lost 2 fights. He lost to Brett Johns in the UFC. He's gone 2-2 so far. Oliveira was mightily impressive in his Dana White Contender Series, and both 30 years old. But I just feel like he looks a little bit more well-rounded.
All right, very quickly, because I have left my MacBook charger downstairs and I've got 9%. So we got
okay. Here we go. There's only 3 more fights left. For this one, we're going to go with the Argentinian herself, whereas looks pretty good on everything I've seen of her. She has the reach advantage. I mean, she lost in her first fight against Lupita Godinez, but I expect Lupita to go very, very far, so I just fancy her a little bit. But this is actually my pick for actually fight of the night, is the Matt Frivola Gennaro Valdez fight.
Who are you picking then? Frivola -195 favorite, Chris, but he's only 38% of people are picking him. A lot of people going the underdog, Valdez.
I'm going to go with Valdez. I know he does occasionally train with Brandon Moreno. He is Mexican as well, so it'd be nice to see both Mexicans on this card get it done. So I'm just a little bit more tempted to go with Valdez, and it is nice to see another strong Mexican fighter, particularly with a nice big O at the end of his name.
I'm going to ride and die on your picks this night, Chris. So
might not be a good night.
Well, we'll go down swinging together. Kay Hansen now, she's getting very popular. She's -220 favorite against Jasmine Jasuda Vicious out of Canada. We had an interview with her. Tom Taylor spoke to her on SCMP MMA. Go check that out after the show. But Chris, you've gone with Kay. So is Drake. I think I'm going to join you there.
Yeah, I love Kay Hansen. I think she's fantastic. Love her character. Just gotta love the fact, it's nice to still have some people. I think there's only really her and is she the last person at 10 Planet left in the UFC who's there fully? I mean, I think Tony Ferguson might have moved on, but I might be wrong there. But anyway, still at age 22.
Tony has his own gym, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, he was always with Eddie Bravo at 10th Planet, right? But
yeah,
I think he's kind of maybe moved in his own direction, but I might be wrong there. But yeah, Kay Hansen, man, 22 years old.
Because he didn't do enough Imanari roles, Chris.
That's it, man. There's never enough. But yeah, she did fantastic in Invicta. If anyone actually wants to know more about her past, go and check out my good friend Drake Riggs' Great WMMA Today podcast on The Scrap. It was fantastic this week. And a little bit of news for you guys. It was the last episode this week. So go check that out while you have a chance. But anyway, to move back to Hansen, she's fantastic in Invicta. She's looked really good since coming over to the UFC. Her first fight, I think, was against Jinyu Frey. Very, very high caliber athlete. She got a fantastic victory there. And I think she was slightly robbed against one of my favorite fighters out there, Corey McKenna. I think Corey McKenna lost that fight, and I think Kay Hansen was a little bit robbed. So hopefully she can bounce back here with the big win.
Okay, that does it for the card. That does it for the show, Chris. Coming up on the hour, we hit the hour, so perfect stuff. Thank you, our man, for tuning in. Thank you, everyone else, for tuning in, commenting, liking, subscribing. We love you guys. Hopefully, Chris might be back on Sunday to do a little pay-per-view recap.
100%.
Yeah, I'm gonna force myself awake at 3 a.m. or whatever it is for the main card. I'm in London, so I'll get up for that, and then we'll do a little recap, hopefully. And yeah, we'll see you then, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Chris. What's the rest of your day look like?
Well, it's 9:15, so yeah, probably a cup of tea. The newest episode of Book of Boba Fett came out last night, so I'm gonna watch a little bit of that. I've been absolutely enjoying it. Anyone who is a Star Wars fan, just to give everyone a little bit of a peek, let's just say Boba's took back Jabba's palace, and he just got himself a Rancor that's being trained by is it Danny Trejo?
Spoiler alert! Come on.
Sorry, it's being trained by Danny Trejo, who's everyone's favorite actor, aka Machete, aka that tough Mexican dude with all the tattoos. Everybody loves him.
Oh, I'm gonna watch that eventually. I'm just finishing Cobra Kai season 4.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, what else? There's a few
I'll
things.
tell you what, I still don't understand how Wonder Boy and Sage Northcutt and Michael Venom Page have never made a sneaky cameo appearance in like Cobra Kai, being such big karate champions and experts themselves, right?
Maybe they'll turn up in season 5. That's a good idea.
I would just love to just even see them in the background, because it's kind of like, it's a little bit of a. It's nice to give a little bit of a shine to the actual athletes of the sport that you're covering, right?
Yeah, that's very true. We'll see. Maybe I'll suggest it to. I'll send an email, a complaint.
That's it.
I'll tweet them. We should tweet them, Chris. A joint tweet.
Well, you never know if Netflix are ever watching and you want to make a show about an MMA fight or a movie about an MMA fight, then you need a little bit of news screen to go in a little segment. Me and Nick are always available. We work for free for Netflix.
Yeah. Well, UFC London as well coming up. I might be here for that, Chris. So maybe I'm going to go along, and I might get to the O2 Arena, which is just a stone's throw away from my house, my parents' house.
Armin is waiting for How I Met Your Father. Is this a spin-off of How I Met Your Mother?
It is, yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, wow. Yeah. What a world do you live in?
Split the world down the middle. I'm a fan of How I Met Your Mother, but I'm not. I'm going to give it a chance, but I'm not looking forward to it, Armin.
So. Yeah, I didn't like when they switched Ghostbusters.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it falls on its ass. So we'll see. Yeah. All right. When is that coming out? I don't know. But whatever, we're done here. I'll let Chris enjoy his Thursday night. He's put in a solid shift there. Thank you, Chris, for joining me. And hopefully see you Sunday, for UFC 270 pay-per-view recap.
100%, guys. And look after yourselves, enjoy the fights. And you know what? We might even be back before them, because there's even more news, Amanda Nunes has changed gym. Michael Venom Page versus Abasov for May, for the Bellator title. It's all going off at the moment.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. Maybe a little sneaky one. If Chris has got time, and if I got time, we'll figure it out. We couldn't get to everything today, but hopefully we will. Vegan Crane, late comment here saying it's going to be Stamp versus Rod Tang. I don't know about that.
I think that's already happened.
I haven't seen Little Sheldon though. Sorry, I do like Big Bang Theory though, but I think that's on there.
There's only one good spin-off of a comedy show, and that's Frasier.
Oh, I was just watching Frasier this morning.
Yeah, it's not as good as Cheers. It's not as good as Cheers.
I think it's better.
Oh, come on. Didn't you say Joey is your second favorite sitcom?
No, I never,
Right. I thought you
never
said
said
that
it.
that's why you wanted to go into writing and journalism because you once read the script for Joey and you were like, wow,
Just making things up
wow.
now.
You were
Making
like,
things
it's
up.
like a modern day Bard.
It could have been good. It had potential, but the idea was there. The execution was not. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
Anyway, look, let's leave it there. My battery's about to die. We got 3%, so I'm gonna run downstairs and charge it, do a bit of work. But yeah, thanks, Chris. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you again next time.